Welcome back. Here is the final part of my sit down with Queer Eye's Jonathan Van Ness.
Yeah, and you know, here this week we are seeing and learning of some incredible advancements and breakthroughs rather in HIV prevention. How have these advancements, these treatments and the science, how have they affected you personally and changed for you what it means to be a person living with HIV?
Well, for me, I mean, I was just so lucky from the time that I found out I was positive. I was able to, achieve and maintain an undetectable viral load like weeks after I, found out I was diagnosed. I've been on a total of 2 medications, for the 8 years that I've, going on 8 years that I've, been positive. And so I think that the breakthroughs in treatment have just been, sometimes I say, if I didn't know that I was HIV positive, I wouldn't know that I was HIV positive. My energy hasn't changed. I feel, better than I've ever felt. I'm doing gymnastics I've never done before. I'm doing ice skating I've never done before. So, in those ways, the fearful ways that I thought, how is this going to affect my life moving forward? It really has not, those fears have not come true. So I think as far as the treatment is concerned, that's been, just really such a relief. But back to what I was saying earlier, it's the navigating myself to finding that access to healthcare, that was really scary. And that's really, I feel what we got to tear down now, because it's the stigma that's preventing folks from being able to access that in the first place. But also I think the U equals U is such a breakthrough, and to be able to speak to that and to be able to celebrate it is so incredible. But I just so want everyone to be able to have access to that information and to that celebration, access to those medications that make that the truth, that make undetectable equals untransmittable. I mean, that's only true if everyone who's positive can get tests and then can get access to the medication. And that's such huge bureaucratic hurdles depending on where you live. So I think that's so important. But yeah, I mean, yes, U equals U. And I think we all just got to keep talking about it together. And I think that that's really how we can make our way forward through stigma, is the more of us that feel safe enough to talk about it publicly, I think the more we can come together to break this down, which I do think is happening. And I'm inspired by people all the time.
When was the first time you heard about U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable? When did you learn that? And what did that moment mean for you? Because I know I'll share with you when you're done sharing with me what it meant to me.
Well, I think when it's interesting, because I had really learned about it as I was writing my book. And when I had learned about it and kind of ran that phrase through certain people and through certain doctors as I was fact checking my book and trying to wrap my head around it, I think that I was really very excited. But I think it's really interesting how much even HIV stigma is baked into people who are positive, because I think my first reaction, was to be am I sure? Could that really be true? And I think that, it is, and that's what the science says, and that's what the science supports. And I think that I feel very strong in that now. But I think, I think the beginning feeling was maybe a bit of are we sure? And then once I really had the time to read it and understand, I was well, yes, I'm sure. And yes, we are sure. But I just think that because of the years and years and years of fear and stigma attached to this, I think it was really hard for us to all be able to, to get to that point. But people fought so hard to get to that point. And so my hats are off to those people that did that incredible work. And it also, has definitely made my life a lot easier as someone living with HIV, both not as a public figure and as a public figure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't even know about it until just before the last World AIDS Conference, when Bruce Richmond, who started Prevention Access, hit me up and said, and I'd been living with HIV at that point for 8 years, and I didn't know it. It has allowed me to deal with the internalized stigma that I didn't even realize I had, my gosh. And I'm getting to live a true happy life, and that means I get to watch you on Queer Eye and all the fantastic things you guys are doing. Jonathan Van Ness, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for the love and support that you do for all of us living with HIV.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.